Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. The Arizona dust is in my eyes. I feel like I'm having an allergic reaction to dust, and my eyes are so darn itchy. I'll try not to itch them while I tell you about Nintendo taking on cheaters and fakes. They're going hard against all of the bad actors out there doing bad things on Switch, so we need to dive into both of those separate stories, as well as a Smash Bros. Competitor is finally great. No, this is like seriously exciting because Smash Bros. Ultimate is sadly done. No more characters, no more Sakurai, at least for a while. But something new is blowing up, and it's gonna be big if it gets to Switch. So let's talk all about it. What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day and don't have itchy eyes, because it's really, I want to touch them, and you know, the more you touch them, the itchier they get. It's like the mosquito bite syndrome. You want to scratch it, but you know how it goes. Anyways, hit that like button if you enjoy how this show goes. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below, and subscribe if you have not already. I'd love to see us get even stronger before E3 rolls around and that June Direct. Oh, a game just hit my Switch. Card shock, you say? What's worse, fakes, phonies, or cheaters? Let's focus on the latter. Nintendo and cheaters do not mesh well. Nintendo has their ninjas that go out and really try and lock down just about everything, but they're taking new steps because cheating is something that really affects multiplayer more than anything else. And you know, Nintendo has been really advancing their online play, they've been advancing their online service, and they've got a big multiplayer game or two arriving soon. Mario Strikers Battle League is a Mario Sports multiplayer, but the real big kahuna is the fishy Splatoon 3. Fishy because fish, and also fishy because where are the new modes? What's new about that game? Alas, Splatoon 3 is a game that we need to make sure does not have cheating or manipulation of save files, rankings, things of that sort, because Nintendo has always believed that Splatoon should be an esport level game, and I'm sure they want to try and push that agenda even more with Splatoon 3. So Nintendo has filed a new patent called the Attestation Program. That sounds like something out of Severance, but instead the Attestation Program is to prevent cheaters. It's basically Nintendo inventing their own form of DRM, their own proprietary system to help games automatically recognize when code has been changed or adjusted. So if you are a sneaky soul who's in there trying to do dirty work and get your splatter shot to fire double the ink, Nintendo will now know, and they will shut that down. Supposedly this is going to help them with online cheating and online manipulation. It doesn't specifically say if it's going to affect things like resetting rank or manipulating save files, but I bet Nintendo is doing everything they can to try and patch the holes in as many places as possible. The patent does say it's specifically targeting multiplayer games with a competitive touch, and that fits both Mario Strikers Battle League and Splatoon 3. I wonder if they'll be able to get this system in place in time for Mario Strikers, but I fully believe they'll have it up and running by Splatoon 3 to make that game as trustworthy and stalwart of a system as possible. They want you to know when you reach A grade that you are really an A grade and that you're not just being tickled by all of those tricky cheaters out there. I like to see Nintendo invent new things, and I like to see Nintendo get with the times. It's probably about time with all their multiplayer stuff that Nintendo does prep for cheaters. Let me know if you're glad Nintendo is trying to combat cheaters in some of their online games. And I wonder if this helps them with the cloud save stuff. You know how certain games they don't allow to have cloud saves because they're so concerned about people manipulating? I don't know if this will apply, but part of me hopes that it'll lead to that. So maybe we don't have to deal with some of these archaic practices and all of these strange concerns. I love this next story because I love Smash Bros. And it already feels like ages since the last new character reveal. Sora was forever ago, and I miss the hubbub around Banjo-Kazooie being brought in, King K. Rool, and more, but don't worry. A new game has entered the ring. Multiversus is now out in alpha, and people have played it. And the remarks and reports are insanely high. I didn't give this game the time of day because I was like, okay, it's Warner Brothers getting wacky with it, LeBron James is punching Bugs Bunny, and here's Shaggy tackling the girl from Game of Thrones. What are they trying to do? It's gonna be free to play? I don't know. But apparently, they've really unlocked the secret formula. SpongeBob is not in this one, that's Nickelodeon All-Stars, but this game does have new systems and deeper mechanics that show they're focusing on the fighting over the branding, and that is why it's getting such rave reviews. Now, I think this could be a big deal if it comes to Switch, because it basically has classes where there's support characters and tank characters, and you pick a 2-on-2 team to go to work and see if you can complement each other in a way that brings about victory. That seems like a very interesting twist on the Smash Bros. Formula, where yes, characters are used for sort of different techniques, but they don't have Overwatch-style roles like this. Plus, there's perks that you can apply and change in between rounds for a little manipulation to fit whoever you're fighting best, and that sounds amazing. Yes, there will be premium transactions, but they say it'll be focused on cosmetics and skins and things of that sort, nothing that affects gameplay. They do have a battle pass, but like, I'm at a point where that stuff can be fun. It doesn't instantly just rub me the wrong way like it used to, maybe because we've just been inundated with it, and maybe because certain games are doing it better. I mean, Nintendo is kind of doing like a freebie battle pass with SwitchForce where you get different gear as you play and win. This is, more the traditional model, but imagine getting new skins for your favorite fighter as you play and progress. Like, that would be super cool. It's built-in DLC that you don't have to wait for the sexy trailer for. Now, this game won't have a sexy trailer to Smash Bros. Ultimate, but if it can come close, which it sounds like they're saying this is the first one that really does, that is a humongous win and would breathe so much life into Switch. Now, the sad part of this story is right now, the game is not on Switch, and I have to imagine Warner Brothers will put it there. They've done such a great job bringing the Lego games and bringing Hogwarts Legacy later this game. I mean, if Hogwarts Legacy can hit Switch, Multiversus can. You can even do things like attach a beam to your teammate so when they fall off the stage, they're saved. So there seems to be a lot more interworking behaviors and just different nuances to learn about the roles and characters and how they, most importantly, interact with each other, which I think is a fun twist. So it's not just trying to be Smash Bros, but Warner Brothers' version. I don't think any game can one-up the Nintendo cast of characters. So instead, they're trying to evolve the formula. They're trying to really build on the fighting, and focusing on the gameplay is something that, despite its great roster, Smash Bros. Gets so right. Smash Bros. Is just instantly fun to play. And if Multiversus does that, even with its other roster of characters, this really could be one to watch out for. And if all 107 million Switch players can download this thing for free, it really could gain traction, it really could build an online community, and I'm just so stoked to try it out myself. Let me know in the comments down below if this sounds good to you. Do you want to play Multiversus? Do you think it needs to come to Switch? And do you think it could be our Smash Bros. Stand-in while we wait for Nintendo to bring us whatever's next years down the road? Now, speaking of what's next, sometimes what's next looks just like before, and Nintendo is really not about that. Nintendo is taking on cheaters, but they've always taken on fakes and phonies. They've even taken on people who are trying to be creative. Look, if you try to mod their game or make something similar or do your own riff, Nintendo is usually like, no, shut that down. They want no part of that, all right? They are strict as can be in the ways of creative interpretation, right? They view everything as stealing and nothing as just copying to pay homage. And a new game is really going to test these waters because it looked exactly like The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. And when I tell you that this game is a lot like Link's Awakening, don't take that lightly, because it's a lot like Link's Awakening. I mean, look at Misplaced. This is Link's Awakening in art, in gameplay, in style, in action. It really feels like they took Link's Awakening and made their own version. Now, they do say it'll be more of a Metroidvania type game, and it does seem to have some different graphical ideas as well as some different item ideas. This came out of an IGN-sponsored game jam, and honestly, the game looks freaking cool. Primarily because Nintendo used that art style once. They haven't dipped their toes back into those waters, and perhaps Grezzo will again, I don't know, but I really like the little action figure cutesy aesthetic of Link's Awakening, and this world in Misplaced captures it perfectly. Until Nintendo does something about it. But the interesting conversation that's sprouting is this a good thing or a bad thing? And many fans are saying, no, it's not good. You're copying Link's Awakening. And they're kind of taking the side of normally what Nintendo does and saying this shouldn't be a thing, you're stealing. But is it really stealing? Because the assets are unique. They're not actually taking Nintendo's pre-designed objects and enemies. They are just doing their own version of what that game evoked. And that happens across the industry for so many games. Like, everybody tried the military shooter once Call of Duty became world famous. They weren't stealing, they were just copying. And they always say that copying is the purest form of flattery. And I think maybe we should look at misplaced as flattering. Like, it's fun to get a game that's doing similar things, but with a new twist. And Nintendo has a lot of great ideas that aren't really replicated all that often, right? While Sony's busy with God of War and Microsoft's trying to figure out some game they can release, Nintendo is dropping hits. And oftentimes we wish we had more of those hits. Like Metroidvania became a thing because so many people tried to do the Metroid thing, and then Castlevania thing, and they merged them together, right? Obviously, plenty have tried the Mario thing. So when we see something that looks this close, it is a bit of a different story because it's the style, it's the look, it's the feel, it's the characters, it's the gameplay. But I feel like this one should live. I don't know if it's just because it looks really good, that's maybe bending my mentality, but I want to play Misplaced because I love playing Link's Awakening, and we don't got nothing else like that on the Switch. Look, there are times when it's blatant, like they stole the straight up character model, they're ripping the animations, and you feel like it's just a quick cash-in. But this is a husband-wife team that really seems like they just love what Zelda does, and Nintendo doesn't make too many of these style of Zeldas anymore. In fact, they don't make any new Zeldas like this, they just redid Link's Awakening. So what's wrong with somebody else picking up the mantle and trying to make a new classic? I'm really curious if you feel like this is a bad one or a good one. Like, I'm worried Nintendo will eventually go after this, and I don't want them to. I think it's cool to see others try something that hasn't been done time and time and time again. But maybe this is too close. Is it too close? It's really close. Even like color palette wise, I think they could have done themselves some favors if they just like swapped it a little. Like maybe this is too on the tunic. Maybe they could have just gone a little more adjacent. I think gameplay mechanics totally worth riffing on. I think art style is totally worth riffing on, but even though this isn't stealing, maybe they should have given themselves a little more breathing room by looking a bit more different. Nonetheless, Misplaced is going to be in the conversation because it looks just like Zelda, and that alone is a very smart, maybe even slightly devious thing to do. You're gonna get conversation when your game looks a lot like Link, and so I feel like we'll be following this until it either gets shut down by Nintendo or until we play it and see if it can stand the test of time. Whew, jam-packed episode, and we still have our poll where I asked you an important question about hats. All right, hats are a thing that's out there, and we have to figure out the best hat. So there's baseball and dad hats, cowboy hats, trucker hats, beanies, fedora, beret, sombrero, top hat, all the other assortments. And it's very clear that everybody is team baseball dad hat. But beanies came in a strong second place with 26% of the vote. And then everything else kind of just fell by the wayside. Not many people are into the trucker hat trend, which I think is gaining some popularity as of late, but it's fedora, beret, sombrero, top hat that captured 10% of the vote. I wore hats a lot more years back. I still wear them now when I don't want to worry about my hair or when it gets a little long or when I just feel like supporting my Detroit Lions, but I'm glad to know that we got a lot of hat wearers out there, and I'm glad to know that we got a lot of Nintendo fans out there. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and watching what happens in the world of Mario along with me. I hope you're all staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there, and until next time, thanks again everybody. Remember, if your day's going rough, it can get better, and tomorrow will be better. There's always something out there for you. Don't feel hopeless, don't feel like it's over. It's okay to be lost, but just know that eventually you'll find it. Until next time though, SwitchForce out.